It all began on a cold evening when my wife walked out of the bedroom, already dressed in clothes that looked too glamorous for the late hour. I asked her where she was going, and instead of giving me a straight answer, she snapped, "Where I go is none of your business." Her tone was sharp, dismissive, and it struck me harder than I expected. We had been married for years, yet suddenly I felt like a stranger standing in my own home. Her words echoed in my head long after she slammed the door and left. I tried to convince myself she was just upset, maybe blowing off steam with her friends, but the doubt dug its claws deeper into me. I stayed awake, pacing around the living room, staring at the clock as the hours crawled by. Midnight passed. Then 1 a.m. She still hadn't returned. At 3 a.m., the shrill sound of my phone shattered the silence. My hands trembled as I picked it up. On the other end was a man's voice, panicked and hurried, telling me to come quickly. My wife had been drinking, and something had happened. The words blurred, but the message was clear. She was in trouble. Without another thought, I grabbed my keys and raced into the night. When I arrived, my worst fears were confirmed. She was there, at a hotel parking lot, surrounded by people I had never seen before. She was disoriented, and the man who had called me quickly slipped away when I showed up. From the looks on their faces, it wasn't hard to guess what she had been doing. Betrayal stung deeper than any wound I had ever known. I didn't cause a scene then. Instead, I quietly helped her into the car, drove her home, and laid her in bed. She mumbled excuses, half drunk, barely aware of what she was saying. But I didn't argue. I didn't yell. Because in that moment, I decided her betrayal would not go unpunished. I would give her the revenge she would never see coming. The next morning, she acted as if nothing had happened. She brushed her hair in front of the mirror, sipping coffee like a normal day. When I asked about the night before, she brushed me off again with the same cold arrogance. "It's none of your business." That was the final confirmation I needed. Over the next few weeks, I played the role of the loyal husband. I smiled, went to work, and acted as though nothing was wrong. But behind the scenes, I gathered every piece of evidence I could. Phone records, text messages, photographs. Her carelessness worked in my favor. Every lie she told stacked higher until the truth was undeniable. I also met with a lawyer. Quietly, carefully, I prepared the divorce papers. I made sure everything would be in my favor. The house, the savings, even her car that was technically under my name. I was patient because I wanted my revenge to be final and absolute. One Friday night, she announced she was going out again. I nodded, smiled, and wished her fun. After she left, I went into action. By the time she returned home, stumbling in heels and smelling of perfume that wasn't hers, I was sitting at the dining table with a folder of papers neatly laid out. She froze when she saw me. I slid the folder across the table. "It's your business now," I said flatly. Her face drained of color as she realized what was inside, every detail of her affairs, every plan I had made, and the divorce papers waiting for her signature. She tried to cry, to beg, to twist her way out of it, but I didn't flinch. For every excuse she gave, I had proof to silence her. For every tear she shed, I remembered the night she spat out those words, "It's none of your business." Now it was my turn to decide what was and wasn't my business. The following weeks were chaos for her. She lost the house, most of her savings, and the image she tried so hard to maintain. The people she thought would stand by her disappeared when the truth surfaced. She went from arrogance to desperation, but I had already moved on. I wasn't proud of the pain, but I couldn't deny the satisfaction of knowing I had turned her own lies against her. Revenge hadn't just been about ending the marriage, it was about reclaiming my self-respect. She had thought she could walk over me without consequence. She was wrong. Even now, when I look back, I don't think of myself as cruel. I think of myself as someone who learned that silence can be louder than shouting, and patience can be sharper than rage. She once told me my questions weren't my business. In the end, I made sure everything became exactly that. My business, my decision, my revenge. And when I finally closed that chapter of my life, I did so with a calm heart, knowing that justice had been served in the quietest, most devastating way possible.